Let's talk about onboarding clients. How do you onboard new bookkeeping clients for your bookkeeping business? More importantly, how do you do it fast and effectively? My name is Zach Pasquarello. I have had my own bookkeeping business for 4 years, and I make these YouTube videos for two reasons. Reason number one, I love my bookkeeping business. I genuinely love talking about bookkeeping and my bookkeeping business. Reason number two, I actually enjoy teaching other people how to start and grow their own bookkeeping business. That's the only reason why I make these YouTube videos. 90% of my revenue comes from actually bookkeeping, running my bookkeeping business. So everything that I talk about is stuff that I actually do in my bookkeeping business. Stuff that I've learned over the past 4 years, mistakes that I've made and lessons that I've learned. Everything that I teach is based on my own experience. I'm not teaching from a textbook. I didn't take a course to learn all this information. It's simply through my own personal experience, trial and error. Okay, let's stop wasting time. Let's get into this video. I'm going to tell you exactly how to onboard new bookkeeping clients for your bookkeeping business. This is so important. When I got started, I had no idea how to do this. This process is super important because it is the transition from marketing and sales to customer service. It's a little bit of sales, it's a little bit of customer service. It's that sweet spot, that in-between point, onboarding clients. This will be your first impression with your new client. They are going to judge you and your business, how you operate, based on how efficiently, how easily, how effectively you can onboard new clients. Everything starts with the sales consultation. I tried to keep my sales consultation short, simple, and to the point. If you're struggling to figure out what to say on a sales consultation, check out my website, harrisburgbookkeeping.com/store. I have a ton of free digital downloads for you. I also have a sales script on my website. You can download it and you can use it for your next sales consultation. It's exactly what I talk about. During the sales call, you need to get one thing. You need to get information so that you can give your client a quote. Obviously, you want to answer all their questions. You want to try to pitch your services, but at the end, you need to get the information necessary so that you can give them a quote. All you need, one of two things, either an invitation to their QuickBooks account or their 3 most recent bank statements and credit card statements. You need this information because you need to count their transactions for the past 3 months. That is how I recommend that you quote somebody. Add up all of their bank transactions and their credit card transactions, and then I multiply that by 3. So I figure out their average number of transactions per month and then multiply that by 3. So if you want to add up 12 months of transactional data, divide that by 12, and that will be your average number of monthly transactions. 6 months divided by 6, you get the idea. Figure out their average number of monthly transactions and then multiply that by 3. When I was just getting started, I actually started with $2 per transaction because I was new, I didn't know, and I was desperate to get clients. But now I'm charging $3 per transaction and a ton of clients are signing up with my services. So it's working for me. I hope it works for you. The key here is to do this quickly. As soon as somebody sends me bank statements, as soon as somebody invites me to their QuickBooks, I stop what I'm doing, I check it out, and I quote them. Just last night, somebody invited me to their QuickBooks at 8 p.m. I had a couple minutes of free time. I opened up my computer, I logged into their QuickBooks, quickly added up their transaction, and the same night I sent them a bookkeeping quote. It's not necessary, you don't have to do it, but the faster you can get this done, the faster you could potentially onboard a new client. And that's why we are here. We're trying to get new bookkeeping clients. I don't have a fancy pamphlet that I send people. I don't have a fancy CRM software that automates a sequence of emails. I simply have one email template that I use to send people a quote. The subject of the email is bookkeeping quote, and the body of the email starts with your monthly bookkeeping fee will be X number of dollars per month. My services generally include categorize your transactions, reconcile your accounts, and generate your financial reports. I do all of these things every week. And I try to send financial reports in the first 5 to 10 business days of every month. So if you were my client, you would have updated and accurate financial reports in your inbox for the previous month. This quote is only valid for 10 days. That's all I do. I send them that email and then I wait for their response. If they don't respond in 7 days, I will probably follow up with them, just asking if they have any questions. Now, whenever they agree to the quote, the next thing I do is I will send them the first invoice and I'll send them my client agreement. This is a really important step. You need to protect yourself. Don't start working on the client as soon as you send the quote. I can't tell you how many times I send a quote and then I just never hear from the potential client. So don't start working, don't waste any time, don't do anything for the client until they agree to the quote. Take it a step further. Don't do anything for the client just because they agree to the quote. They might respond and say, yep, that looks perfect. Let's get started. Don't get too excited. The onboarding process is not done. You need to get paid first before you do anything. This is important because from my experience, I have had a ton of clients who agree to the quote, even sign the client agreement, but they never pay the first invoice. I always require everybody to pay upfront. So for example, if I'm going to start doing your bookkeeping in May, you need to pay me in May before I get started. And then on June 1st, I'm going to send you another invoice. June 1st invoice needs to be paid due upon receipt as soon as possible because that June 1st invoice covers my services for June. I don't bill June 1st for May. I don't bill in July for services performed in the month before. This protects me. I rarely ever have issues with clients not paying, but in the event that I do, I'm only out on a couple weeks of bookkeeping or maybe a month of bookkeeping if a client decides to not pay and ghost me. I don't bill for the month before, I bill for the month in the future. All of my clients are okay with that, so hopefully you don't have any issues billing that way as well. I use PandaDoc to electronically deliver documents. If you're interested in exploring PandaDoc, there is a link in the description of this video. Totally recommend. Check out PandaDoc. Before I started working with PandaDoc, I was using a PDF that I would email to my clients, and then they would print out the PDF, sign the PDF, take a picture of it, and email it back to me. That process is unnecessarily difficult. The whole point of this onboarding process, you want it to be fast and easy for your clients so that they can quickly pay you for your services. You don't want anything to get in the way of them paying you. So make it as easy as possible. Use PandaDoc to electronically deliver your documents, and you can save a template. So all I have to do is edit the date and the amount of the monthly services on the template, and then I send it to the client. It's so super simple. I can do it in less than 5 minutes. And then the client can easily electronically sign the document. The whole process can be done in less than 20 minutes. And then finally, I use QuickBooks Online to send the invoice. The client needs to pay the invoice before I get started. Before I do any work beyond quoting the client, I need to get paid. I require full payment upfront. Even if it's a full year cleanup, I require full payment upfront. I used to do 50% upfront and 50% when the project was complete. However, some clients struggle to communicate effectively. They struggle to answer your questions, which means the end date for the project can often be pushed out by several months simply because the client is unable to answer your questions. If I'm billing somebody $6,000, I don't want to wait 2 or 3 months to get the second half of the $3,000 payment just because the client hasn't been able to answer my questions. So I require full payment upfront, no questions asked. That is my policy. So once the client agrees to the quote, they sign the client agreement, they pay the first invoice, I do a couple more things, and then that's it for the onboarding process. I have 2 trackers. I have a weekly workflow tracker. So all of my clients are on my workflow tracker. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. I don't use fancy CRM software. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. I have every client's name, I have their email address, and then I assign everybody a day of the week. So right now I have 66 clients, which means I'm working on 12 to 14 clients every single day, Monday through Friday. I don't work on the same client twice a week. I only touch each client once a week. So if I onboard a new construction company, I might assign them Thursday, which means every Thursday, I'm going to log into their QuickBooks and categorize their transactions. It's very important as your business grows. You need to remember as soon as you onboard a client, you need to add them to your workflow checklist, because if you don't, you might forget about them. In the beginning, when you have 5 or 10 clients, not a big deal. You can probably just remember all 10 of your clients off the top of your head. But as you get 20, 40, 60 clients, it becomes impossible to remember all 60 of your clients. So as soon as you onboard them, as soon as they pay that first invoice, immediately add them to your workflow checklist. And then I also have an invoice spreadsheet where I just have all the clients. I have the month and year that they started and the amount that they pay me. I add everybody to my invoice checklist, Excel spreadsheet, super basic, just so I can track how many clients I got in April, how many clients I got in 2023, how much monthly recurring revenue I'm making from my monthly clients. And then finally, the last step in the onboarding process before you actually start doing the bookkeeping, I create a recurring transaction in my QuickBooks account. So I create an invoice that's going to go out on the first of every month for however much they pay me every month for bookkeeping. And I use QuickBooks as a payment processor. So they can pay with ACH transfer or a credit card or a debit card straight through my QuickBooks invoice. It gets automatically sent directly to their email. So every month my work is done. I don't need to manually send an invoice on a recurring monthly basis to my clients. That's it. That is my onboarding process. I try to keep it simple. Obviously, I left out some specific details. There will be a few more questions. There will be more emails that go back and forth, but generally that is the process. Sales consultation, invitation to QuickBooks, quote, accept the quote, client agreement, first invoice, add them to my tracker, add them to my monthly recurring invoices, and that's pretty much it. Guys, you have to check out all the links in the description of this video. I made a ton of resources, some free, some paid. They are all designed specifically to help you start and grow your own bookkeeping business. And finally, let me just add, I always say starting a bookkeeping business is a 4-step process. Step number 1, you got to learn bookkeeping in QuickBooks. That's pretty obvious. Step 2, marketing and sales. You got to get clients first, and that's the hardest part. Getting your first couple clients is the hardest part. And then step number 3, deliver high quality customer service. That's the most important part. You got to do a good job so that you can keep your current clients and so that your bookkeeping business can get 5-star reviews on Google, and people will spread your business through word of mouth referrals. That's the most important part. Doesn't matter how good you are at marketing and sales, if you can't actually deliver a good product, your business will fail. And then step number 4, you gotta work really, really hard. That's it for the videos, guys. If you liked this video today, please subscribe to my channel. It's a great way to support me so that I can continue to help you and everybody else start and grow a successful bookkeeping business.